Hello, everyone. This is Lada from Astrolada.com, and today I'm here with the amazing astrologer Philip Daniel Miles from the United Kingdom. Hi, Philip.
Hello there, Lada. Thanks very
Great.
much for having me.
Thank you. Great to have you here. And I remember that my phone went on fire the day that my tester had a reading with you. And she left me like 10 messages. You gotta talk to him. You gotta get him on. He's so good. What other astrologers tell me in 2 hours, he told me in 15 minutes without me asking. He went straight to the point. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. And when I heard your voice, you spoke so, and people love the accent, of course.
Well,
But
what can you do?
and so Philip today will tell us some interesting astrology techniques, very easy, that are ancient actually. I think they were used in ancient Greece. What you're going to talk about, Hellenistic techniques that are very easy for predictions, and he's going to tell us some predictions for the solar eclipse that he has in August. And we're going to, have an astrology chat, so join us, learn new things, and meet this amazing soul, Philip Daniel Miles.
Thank you very much. That's a lovely introduction, Lada. I very much appreciate you having welcomed me so warmly, as well as having me as a member of your team, because you are a very prestigious member of the astrology community, and your website has built quite a reputation over the years. I've done a lot of learning with you, and so thank you very much for doing all that you do.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Well, it's really all about transformation, isn't it? This astrology lark. It's about discovering when we can best find the right opportune moments to transform ourselves and take ourselves to the next level of where we desire to be. I mean, sometimes things can weigh upon us and in life, and they're calling for us to take a look at that area of our experience to see where we can bring it into alchemy and balance, so that we can enjoy the experience a little bit more and grow through it and flower as beings. I would say that astrology certainly opens my eyes to when best to act. And also when I look back at my life before my knowledge of astrology, I can see everything happened uncannily, as above, so below.
Mhm.
So this is a fine tool of divination, if not the most accurate of all.
But the way you said it, it sounds like you believe in free will, that we can influence events, and you believe that we can use astrology not as a doom and gloom. Like I still feel overwhelmed sometimes when I know that I'm going to have 5 years of Pluto squares and Saturn squares at the same time to all my planets. And I'm like, I'll be dying, who'll be dying, everything will be falling apart. But you seem to be using it for the way of improving yourself, and how, and like, how, if you see a number of difficult transits for the future person's going to have, like Pluto Saturn transit, what are you going to tell the person? I mean, how are you going to
Firstly,
present it in a positive light so the person does not freak out or self? Or obviously there must be a positive in this, whatever they're going to go through, even if they're, the worst case scenario, someone dies, or illness and health problem. How do
yeah,
you feel positive?
real stuff happens. This is reality and this is life, and sometimes things don't work ideal, but we can use astrology to allow us to see the silver linings. What message are we gaining from maybe what is a negative experience that we can carry with us? What seed is within that we can allow to blossom within ourselves, so that we go to the next stage a little lighter, but also with a little more wisdom to take with us as well.
Oh, is there a way for you to pass quickly through the more difficult planets and say what usually the basic lesson of those planets are, like Saturn, Pluto, Uranus?
Well, I would say that Saturn is all about finding a structure which works. And this is not just about, this can obviously plays out in every area of life. So this can be to do with our health, the way we see ourselves, the way we operate on a day-to-day basis, the way that we communicate with each other, even the values that we have. If we're just like saying, okay, well, the moon's made of cheese, and we're establishing our cosmology on something like that, then maybe we want to find something which is going to work a little bit more longevity, because that's what Saturn's about. Because when we do forge something that is sturdy with grounded roots, it's going to last. It's going to last
and realistic, yeah.
a very long time. Yes.
That's a very good way to present Saturn transits, because people know, oh, Saturn's going to transit my moon, or it's going to square my sun, you know, and it's heavy. Emotionally, it's heavy. Usually difficulties happen outside, but when you look at it, the ultimate goal is to find a more stable structure, so it can destroy some structures, so you can create more stable ones. So maybe like, you know, literally like you having to pull down your house and strengthen the foundations of the house, in a sense.
Totally, yes, very much so. And I found like I'm going through my Saturn return now, just in the closing months of it, because I really do feel like it's not just within the orb that we have. Well, Saturn return, it takes Saturn 28 years to go around the whole of the sky.
I think it's a couple of years, I would say.
Yeah, well, for me, I think that for our Sagittarian Saturns, people, Saturn actually went in to Sagittarius and dipped out of it and went back into Scorpio on a retrograde early in 2014, and it didn't actually finally get in there until December 2014. And my Saturn is actually right in the middle, 14 degrees. So it's actually cleared the point of my Saturn now. Although this has been a really tumultuous load of lessons to really ground me, because this is actually my third house where my Saturn is. So it's all about learning how I communicate my truth in a grounded manner, which isn't ludicrous, because I've got like Uranus conjunct Mercury as well in Sagittarius in the third house, which means I'm so sporadic, grasping at things, forgetting my train of thought. But at some point within these genius moments, like they're foot in mouth too. So it's about, you know, learning to ride and ride the horse and be a master jockey.
Exactly. Saturn is about mastering things. It's about having control, more control. So this is, yeah, difficult lessons. Maybe you get put down. Maybe you sometimes a person can lose jobs, relationships, whatever, but it teaches you how to master whatever house Saturn is in, the energies of that house. So that's a good way to put it in perspective. I like how you presented it. Putting structure.
And also, like, if somebody's going through a struggle, you can always remind them that although the struggle is right here and right now for them, that one day they're going to be teaching people.
Saturn is the biggest teacher. Exactly.
Everyone becomes an authority on the struggles they overcome. So that's what Saturn's all about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. First, it starts like making you a loser, Saturn, and later on making you a master.
It is. It's the figure of 8 in numerology. Although, like, I always associate as well, you could say that Pluto is with number 8 in numerology, but it's a slippery slope if you don't do the lesson. That's what it is. So it can transform us for the better or worse, the number 8. But if we stick with it and ground ourselves, we can gain real serious traction and get to where we desire to be through that experience.
Who are the people that suffer the most from Saturn transits?
Who are the people that suffer the most?
Yes, I mean the people that when they're having Saturn transit, what is their attitude or behaviors that would make someone have a very difficult and painful Saturn transits?
People running away from their responsibilities. People not wanting to deal with something, you know, health-wise or diet-wise, sticking to bad routines that don't work. People with their heads in the sand. Really? Are you outing yourself, Lada?
I work very hard, but before my first Saturn return and my Saturn transits opposite the sun, I never worked. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I overdrank. I oversmoked. I had no routines, no responsibilities, and I hated myself for that. And when Saturn came, all of a sudden having to work 12 hours a day, but it brought me here. That's great, you know, the structure it gave. But it was hard because I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking, and life was no fun. It was just so dull. And I found Saturn transits very hard because I wasn't used to structure and routines. But people that are maybe strong Capricorn people, responsible, that work hard, for them Saturn transits are like a song. They're familiar. They know how to navigate that.
Well, it's quite funny actually, because I am Capricorn Sun. However, I would never be able to relate to the Capricorn energy so much until the Saturn return hit, because it's really given me a dose of what structure is and given me the opportunity to put my creativity across in a driven way, you know, with structure, which will last, as I say.
Absolutely. Well, Saturn, Saturn is never easy before the first Saturn return. All Saturn transits before that. Saturn is just not mature. Actually, Saturn, according to ancient astrology, matures at the age of 36 fully. With the first Saturn return around 28, 29 is the first dose of really serious Saturn awakening, but it takes you the age of 36. And usually, if people look back from the age of 35 to 36, something really important connected to Saturn happens in their life, especially according to the house of Saturn, something that shows this maturation, the full potential of Saturn. Anyway, I don't want to take from you, but
that's cool. It's great. I love to learn and share these information.
This is ancient Vedic astrology. Each planet has a maturation age, and it's based on different cycles, but they do work like crazy. My life turned around from 35 to 36 based on the Saturn for better. And if you are not, if you haven't learned your Saturn lessons before that, the age of 35 to 36, it can be a pretty difficult period, you know.
Yeah, that's something which, well, it's intimidating, isn't it? So we're learning to not be intimidated by the fear of crumbling, by not having done our stuff and got ourselves together, but to know that we're working towards rewards. And we are our own rewards. We are our own gifts for ourselves and each other. So if we can work on ourselves and take Saturn as that teacher that is working with us rather than against us, then we can really master our own experience and be friends with Saturn, if you will, if that is possible. I think.
Yeah. So the best attitude during Saturn transits is work hard. What would you say? Like, what is the attitude to accept to?
Yes, work hard and don't put things off. They will come and dip you in the bud if you put things off, and everybody's got a different way of structure and organization. It's unique to them and their own dynamic, how it plays out through their chart. However, find a way in which you can work with your Saturn. There's always an opportunity there. There's always a way.
Yes, thank you.
And also, it's very exciting as well for people who have got Saturn coming into the third house from their moon sign as well, because that's a very rewarding time too.
How do you know that? This is
I know that because it's going into my fourth house in December. So I'm looking forward to that.
But do you, according to ancient astrology, is Saturn the third sign from the moon? Do you use the third sign or the third house?
The third sign from the moon or the third house. Oh, this is interesting. So I thought it was the third house. So my moon is in Libra. So
when it goes in Sagittarius,
when it leaves Sagittarius and goes into Capricorn, will be when the struggles stop and the rewards will come. But also, I was learning. I can't remember the specific word for it, but I think you'll probably know. You may know the word, but in Vedic astrology, it's not just every 28 years that we get depression. We go through these stages of deep rest whenever Saturn comes around, really. And this is because it's reassessing what's right for us in our lives, what we're going to take with us for the next 28 years, what's stopped working over the past 14 years, this kinds of things. And so when Saturn swings around to just before our return and before the moons, this is when we can really go for a session of really introspective thinking and delving deep within ourselves.
You mean when Saturn is in the sign of the moon?
Before and after.
Yeah, so the three signs, the sign before, this is in ancient astrology, it's called Sadesate, or the 7 year kind of a dark night of the soul. It's not necessarily dark night of the soul, but things slow down, exactly like you said. So if you have moon in Libra, it would happen while Saturn is in Virgo, in Libra, and in Scorpio, that those 7 years that things slow down a little bit, and it's not as easy to get what you want. So you can, as you said exactly, you can reevaluate and reassess your life.
Well, what I would like to see happen, which is a very Saturnian structure, which I'm about to mention, would be that if we could have society support each of us in those positions so that we are able to take the time out that we need and we get the money to support ourselves and space that.
Goosebumps. I'm totally for it. This is like the basic income that they're proposing in some countries now.
Well, that's the way it should be, I believe, and it's fantastic that people are already pioneering in those directions.
Yes, because honestly, during those years, while Saturn was transiting before my moon, and after that, no matter what I tried to do, it didn't work out well. And fortunately, I was kind of had some money, so I didn't have to work, and that I was researching, studying, preparing. That's what's the only thing that was working out for me, to be honest. So yes, I totally agree with you. And if they use astrologers when a person is going through the 7-year Saturn moon period, to give them a basic income support so the person can explore within. And this is absolutely, yeah, I totally agree with you. We should propose it to government, or you should become the next prime minister in UK.
Well, we'll see about that, shall we? Also, what you were saying, this is just in relevance to readings and people's opportunity with choosing their astrologers anyway. Every astrologer is unique and beautiful in their own way, and they all have their own eyes to see and their own perspective to share. So when somebody is looking for an astrologer to give them a reading because they have queries on their experience, they choose the astrologer which vibrates at their resonant level. Because I'm not going to be for everyone. I may be for a fair amount of people, but not for everybody. And so we choose the person that resonates with us, because basically what the astrologer is doing is opening up a door, opening up an opportune reality for the client to step into if they choose to. It's not a fixed eventuality. As I say, in my world, there's no fear. There's a possibility and an eventuality which is there to be worked with. And the clients can step into that and make it their reality very easily, because the astrologer is a very powerful visionary and they're able to see the reality.
And they can almost like bring out the best, even if difficult situation, can help the person envision the best outcome and actually create them, isn't it?
Yes, it's providing them with the confidence and the tools to know how to operate within this cluster that is our experience.
Okay, give me an advice. I'm going to go through a ass-whooping 5 years of Pluto squares to my Mars, Sun, Venus, and Pluto conjunct ascendant. What do I do? So, give me tools.
Can you just say it again for me?
Pluto square my Mars, my Sun, my Venus, and conjunct my ascendant all within 4 years, actually.
Well, I'd say this is opportunity to really take yourself to where you see yourself being in 5-10 years. So you think that, okay, well, it's not every day that I get these opportunities of Pluto to transform me to the next level of my experience. And you might say, okay, well, obviously you're quite aesthetically pleasing. You know how to present yourself, so in a way which is business-like and also professional. So you can use that when it's squaring your Venus to really show how you are communicating your value and presenting yourself with other people. Mm-hmm. And you can use this opportunity to think, okay, well, this is a stage of my life where I want to be seen as still very attractive as a professional and as a mother, or whatever works for you, obviously, whatever's lining up. These are opportunities to say, okay, well, maybe I can get rid of some other things that just, weren't working for me, because the more that you get rid of, the more space you've got for the stuff to come in. So if you've got a big wardrobe, clear half of it out, because there's so many more magnificent outfits you can have come in. And also, this is obviously about the people that we closely relate to and the people that we value and have around us too. So you are best to consider who's serving you and who you're able to best serve in your relationships and experiences. That would be the Venus.
That's very positive and light. I like it. When you go and read online on forums, my husband died during Pluto transit. I got sick and lost all my money. I lost my and sometimes it's scary reading the stories of people. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's only people that go through bad things going right on forums to scare everyone off, because I've seen really empowering stories of difficult transits of Pluto of my clients. And I've seen people just take their power back. If they have lost it over something, they regain it back. There is nothing more empowering anymore. And the thing is that before they regain it back, whatever's taken their power might increase at the start of the transit, can become way more intense. So some bully or someone abusing them or a new abuser can appear, or some addiction can escalate proportionately, so the person reaches the breaking point, and then the transformation happens. But
exactly. Just to use the one example, like if you're in an abusive relationship, as you mentioned, you say, this is an opportunity to know ourselves and value ourselves and love ourselves, not to put ourselves in those situations again, and learn from that experience. Mm-hmm. And that's real transformation through Pluto that's going to last, and it's real value which will stay with that person forever.
Yeah, it's not like if you have Saturn transit Venus, someone breaks your heart, and you don't learn such deep lessons with Saturn transit Venus. You'd go and repeat the same relationship. But with Pluto transit Venus, somehow it transforms you in such a deep level, you'll never go again and do the same type of relationship. You're not going to repeat the pattern.
Well, it's very impersonal. To be insulted by your core loving tendencies and your values is something which just stays with you. I have a Venus in Scorpio natally, so it's you really, really cling on to those things that you value, and those things that you've suddenly besmirched you or slanted you in some way. It's time to get rid of them, and we know that's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, now can you? You told me that you're gonna teach us very easy predictive techniques called Profections. Profections, which was used in ancient Greece and in the medieval times. And actually, it's very easy, but it's tremendously effective. Can you?
It's amazingly uncanny the way this plays out. This was actually a technique taught to me by one of my mentors, Pam Crothers from Brighton and Hove Astrology Circle. But what it is very basic and easy to follow once we can just master the method. So if I dare share my screen, I say dare because I'm not like the most technically adept of all astrologers, but we'll see how we go. Oh, hello.
Phil, what's your ascendant? We heard your sun is Capricorn.
I'm a Libra ascendant. Here we go. Here's my chart. I'm a Libra ascendant.
Oh, double Libra and moon in Libra.
And moon in Libra and South Node in Libra.
Very cardinal.
And so, yes, what we do to find out.
Your moon is on speaker. Oh my God. You know that?
I do, yeah. It's in between. What's the other one? Taurus as well.
It's very lucky. This is very spiritual star. People that have the moon on speaker, they can shine. This is one of the brightest stars, and according to ancient astrology, this fixed star can make one very famous, to be honest. It can make someone shine brightly, and it's a lucky star. It's a star that of the Isis is the star of Isis, of Mother Mary, of all female deities. And a female deity is protecting you. Sorry, I just wanted to fill in something.
No,
this is the luckiest star in the sky, speaker. Anyway,
it's an honor to have this star. It really is. One of your other astrologers on your team has this as well, with Uranus conjunct, which is very exciting. But I'm sure she'll introduce herself and talk about that in due course.
Oh, okay. You know my astrologer's better than me?
Well, we're all unique in our own ways. But I actually heard, funny you say that, although that this is the star bestowing fame and fortune, because it's under the horizon in my chart, some people say, oh, well, that's it, only within your own field, which is actually quite comforting. Because obviously it's really good to be really well known for what you want to be well known for. But if you're just in publicity all the time, that would be a bit much, wouldn't it?
No, yeah, and it will be through your own efforts as well. And within your own control, because it's in the first house. You have control.
That's very good. So the way this method works out with a Profection is that we have the positions of the chart, the planets at the time of our birth. And what we do is we carry one house per year that we live. So for the first year, this is our chart. And for the second year, so we look at what's going on in the first house and say, okay, well, what's going on in the first house is our experience for that first year. And the ruler of the planet and the house is actually going to be what the makeup of our experience. So the first house is Aries, and the ruler of Aries is Mars.
What do you mean? Your first house is Libra.
Yes, but the first house is represented by the sign of Aries. And so this is actually done by, so there's 2 planetary rulers that would make up the whole makeup. So Venus and Mars would be my first rulers for the first year. Venus could be considered the first rule because it's actually so basically you look to the planet of the sign ruler. That makes sense.
Okay, you look at the sign ruler of each year by counting, each year
so
from birthday to birthday,
it's Venus here.
Yeah.
So for Libra, and so you look to where Venus is in the chart, and Venus is actually in Scorpio. So this is to suggest that I would have been having a very, very tight relationship in my first year of experience. Very, very tight feeling relationships, very tight bonds, emotional relationships with the people around me.
Mm-hmm. And you have the moon in the sign also of the perfection, the first year perfection. So
yes, which represents my mum.
I can imagine you smothered by your mom's breast. The moon gives me this.
Like I've actually allowed to escape my everyday experience, but maybe. So the second year would be Scorpio, because that's what's in my second house. So Pluto is actually the ruler of Scorpio, and it's at home in the second house there. So that's the experience.
So you use the traditional rulers, the normal Western rulers, even though it's a traditional technique, yeah?
Yes.
Or are you going to look also at Mars?
With my astrology techniques, I like to use the ancient techniques and bring them up. I don't like to stick to any specific rules. I like to take the bits that work for me and run with it, because I think that you can relate it totally. Although
you have Mercury conjunct Uranus, you'd invent your own techniques even.
Exactly. I'm the punk rocker. I'm the anarchist, and I'll do it my way, as long as it can be relatable to everybody else. That's what matters.
Let me just tell to people, this technique is used with whole sign houses. So you
always with whole sign
whole sign where the ascendant is. And then you don't look at house stuff of that. You just look at the next sign from the ascendant will be the second year. The third sign from the ascendant, but third sign starting with the ascendant is the first. The second sign from ascendant is the second. The third sign from ascendant is the third year.
And so you can actually look at this chart here, which I don't know how well it will pick up, but this is an easy way to do it. If you know your 12 times table, it's not that hard. This is not a great picture, but here we go. Basically, it goes through all of the different years. So if you was to say, okay, well, I'm 35, then you're in your 12th here.
And 36, what is that? 36 is again the ascendant, isn't it?
36 is the ascendant, because that'll be the third time around the whole chart, because it's every 12 years that we go back to the first house. That's not to suggest that when we're 12, it's going to be this, or when we're 13, sorry, it's going to go, that we're going to have the same experience as we did 12 years previous, you know? It's actually got a completely different flavor, because we also look at the transiting planets in the sky. So if I was to look at, so basically, I'll continue my example.
Yes, do that.
So right now, I am 30 years old. I'm halfway through my 30th year. And so what we do is we look on the chart, or we do the times table. Either way, I like to look at the chart because it's really a lot quicker.
And you count the 30th year, that's from the 29th till you reach 30, or from 30 till you reach 31? Which do you consider the 30th year?
I consider the first year is you're just 0.
Okay. The second year is then considered the first year.
Yes.
No, the moment you turn 1 till 2 is the first year. No.
Even I'd say that the first year you're 0, and then the second year, second house is when you're 1 year old. Third house you're 2 years old.
Okay, so you look at the normal ages, like from your birthday. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so basically, I've done a couple of circuits myself around the chart on doing this method since I was born. I'm 30 years old now, which means that it's playing out through my 7th house.
It says 30 days. It's very small, but people, you can find it through. Just write the Profection table, and you can find it online anywhere. Google it, and read which year falls in what sign from the ascendant. We're looking whole sign houses here. Okay, so it falls for you where?
It falls for me in my 7th house, where I have Aries and I have my North Node. So this whole year for me has been about following my courage in relationships and in general in the world outside of my own comfort zone.
Yeah, you reached out to me a few times. That takes courage.
Yeah, I actually started out my 30th year in America, in another continent where my partner lives and her 2 children. And so I was out there where I've actually met her and went all the way to another country on my own, which was a very big deal for a Aries North node. So it's really stepping into that Mars energy, which is actually something which I knew nothing about myself. I didn't know how to be angry or assertive whatsoever with my Mars, because it's in Pisces, which is buried in deep water, and Mars is a fire planet. And so really this whole Saturn return and this whole the experiences that I've been going through the past few years have really opened me up to my Mars energy. And so Mars is the ruler of Aries. And so when we have the perfected year in the 7th house, where I have Aries, this means we look to the planet Mars, and we look to where it falls in my chart, which is actually in my daily practices and habits.
In the 6th house, yeah, in Pisces, in the 6th house, yeah.
Yes, yep. And so basically this is looking to incorporate my passions into my daily experience in a way that works, so that I can use it as my profession, which is using astrology in my daily business, you see.
And I would say 7th house, where the perfectionist is about partnerships. The ruler of the 7th house, Mars, is in the 6th house. Work through partnerships.
Yes,
and
yes.
See how it's working amazingly. And also, 7th house is consulting and advising. 6th house is work and service, helping others. So helping others to work and service by consulting and advising. Wow, it's playing out great. And also being, yeah, as you said, like being proactive with your relationships overall. Sorry.
That's cool. That's cool. Also, yeah, as you say, like that's very good that works out in the 7th house for me, because obviously I have an abundance of Libra energy. So during the one-on-one consultations is really where my comfort zone is, because I can find it so easy to relate to others and hopefully hold my space for them so that they can really explain themselves, and we can have a real balanced, fair conversation. You understand?
Wonderful. And it means next year, from your birthday, from January or whatever your birthday is in December.
Yeah, next year. My birthday is in December, the day after Christmas.
You'll be 26. Taurus. The Taurus will be,
yes.
The year will be influenced by this 8th house and by Taurus. So the main theme of the year will be mutual resources, 8th house. What else? You tell me.
It could be like it's the kind of thing where you might get married, or you might buy a house with somebody. You might go and say, I'm going to start a business with somebody, or you might go on a holiday together.
And then you analyze Venus as well, where Venus is in your horoscope, which is in your 2nd house. So it means by some business partnerships, 8th house, you can increase your resources as well.
Very nice. Well, I'll be making sure that I network with all the right people then.
Yes, it will. Or your partner can give you money.
Yes, well, we can exchange, we can share, but I'd like to receive too, yes.
And then you are using transits as well. You are looking at that planet, whichever ruled the perfected year. Can you explain?
Yes, well, if we look at where Mars is at the moment in the sky, it's just gone into Leo just today.
That's why I feel better. Woo!
It does. It's not slugging it along underwater. It's not bitching and moaning because things aren't the way it wanted it. It can actually just bask in its own glory and get things done. So that's really good. But the thing is, that's really so Mars is actually up here transiting in my chart right now. Just gone into the 11th house of collaborations and passions shared with people. And so basically, you're interviewing me, and you're a Leo, I believe. And so
Leo Moon.
Leo Moon, you're Leo Moon. Okay, so this is in the 11th house. So actually, I'm being interviewed by a Leo Moon the day of the ingress into Leo with Mars in my 11th house. So that's pretty uncanny. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and it's bringing you out to large audiences. The 11th house is large audiences.
Yes, it's your stage.
So you're looking basically, when you find the perfected sign of the year, you look at the planet in your horoscope that rules it. You look at that house, say whatever planet you have, they will be brought up to the surface this year. Whatever house it is, it will be a big focus for your life this year. And you also look at where in your chart the planet that rules that sign is. And that house will also be highlighted. But most
It sounds
important,
a bit intimidating at first, but once you write those simple steps down, obviously that Lada very clearly explained, much better than I.
no,
However,
it's very easy. No, you're explaining it well. And then you look at the transiting planet in the sky that's ruling the perfected sign for you, where it's going and what it's activating. And that will be the most, that will make big points in your year, basically.
yes.
Do you do in your predictions, do you use that with clients? Because it's
actually
amazing.
Something I'm incorporating now. If anybody was to ask me for when's best to act, it's really good to look at those planets which they are ruled by in that year, and you can really help them with whatever it is that they're already working with, because we have a natural, all the astrology is a reflection of our inside of our hearts and our guts. So we already have an inkling and an intuition to know which area of life we're working with. So astrology is complementary to our experience.
Wonderfully put. So can you like give us another demonstration of this technique so people can get it?
I'll give you one more demonstration. I'll keep it short and sweet because it's a bit radical. But I was looking at the Eclipse and Donald Trump's chart.
Okay.
And it's only because we were looking at
people fighting in the chat room now. We mentioned Donald Trump. War is happening, you know.
I'm not into politics. Sometimes I leave early if my astrology groups start talking about politics because it's a bit mundane. It's a bit boring, especially the English stuff. Really boring. But bear with me. I'll get Trump's chart up, and we can use the Profections to make a prediction for the eclipse and show you how I see that working.
Fantastic.
So have you used this technique yourself, Lada, in your experience with clients or your own life?
I was taught it, but because I'm so bad at counting, and I stopped using it, but I'll start using it again. And remember when I learned it, I was amazed how correct it was. And last year was my perfected 12th house year till this birthday. And this was the year that everything in my life, till I had it, I lost everything that I had. I mean, not in a bad way. I left a marriage. I left my house in a different country. I left all my friends. 12 house is about letting go and leaving. And that's so correct when I think about it. I've forgotten that I was in a 12th house perfected year. And this year, on my birthday, I entered the first house perfected year. And this is when I had my son as well. He was born a day before my birthday or two. And that's a new beginning perfected year for certain. And the first house, so I have to watch the transits of Saturn the whole year, till my next birthday.
Okay.
Or Uranus, which one do you use? You use my ascendant is Aquarius, so I would use Uranus,
Yeah, I'd be using Uranus, but you can use both because they're probably both relatable.
Yes, because Saturn and Uranus rule Aquarius. Well, I'm also having Uranus. So whatever aspects Uranus is doing and transiting, they'll be the most powerful ones for me this year.
Yeah,
many people say this year Venus transits, I could feel them. Other years, nothing important. This year Venus transited my 7th house and I met the love of my life. But Venus transits the 7th house every year. And people wonder why does some years this transit work, especially of the faster moving planets, and some years they don't work. But it is the perfections. That's how the ancients were using it. So if it's a perfected year ruled by Venus, all Venus transits will be extremely impactful for you. So that makes sense how to filter out the important transits and to focus, because every year we have thousands of transits, and you can't go to an astrology and have all those transits read, but this is the best way to filter out the most important transit. This is fantastic technique, Phil. Thank you for sharing it with us. Sorry, I took the screen, the microphone. You show us now.
It's a pleasure. And also, it's quite synchronistic and divine timing and organization that you had just had your 12th perfected year, and now you're in your first, because it's actually Donald Trump is 71 years old, which means that he's in his 12th perfected year as well.
Oh, so everything's going to fall down for him.
Well, you could say that. This is what many people have been predicting. Like, I've looked at a whole slew of different predictions from different astrologers since before he was even elected about this eclipse and what it could mean. And I'm not very optimistic about this, in the sense that I think that the best thing about this guy is that he's going to be a catalyst for change, in a sense that's going to bring a longer lasting change to the world. Whether it's by his intention or by the reaction from the people is a matter which will be yet to play out and to be seen. However, the way I see it is, we look at the 12th house and we can see that the gentleman has got Cancer here, which is actually the sign of America anyway.
Yeah.
Also, we have Gemini and
Mercury,
Venus and Saturn. So
Mercury,
he is a leader.
Mercury, yeah. Sorry.
Mercury and Venus and Saturn. And so basically, he's a leader and he's communicating using his charm to that country. And a lot of what he's been doing has been hidden from the populace, the world, and to his natives. So the 12th house is about hidden things.
Didn't he just have birthday? Is that for his birthday when he won, or for now, from this June, his birthday?
What about? Sorry. Oh, right. This is his most recent birthday.
From his recent birthday, yeah. Okay. Last birthday, he was in the 11th profected. In the 11th.
Yeah, when he was elected, he was in the 11th, which is the house of collaborations and talking.
And politics. And the sun is there.
But it was also where his North Node is as well.
Yes, so that was a very winning perfection. The sun is a powerful planet, the planet of power, of leadership. In the 11th house is politics and collaborations. Wow, yeah. And North Node is a point of increase and gain. So he had a really powerful, positive perfection last year.
And it's the Aquarian house with Uranus there in it too. So it's a shock for everybody.
And Uranus, yeah, for certain. And from June 2017 till June 2018 will be his perfected 12th house. Okay.
Yes, and the 12th house ruler, we could say, you could basically look at Cancer, which is the moon. But you can also look at the 12th house ruler, which is Neptune. It's not just the sign. You can look at the house ruler too, for how we're working out what this goes on. So we look at the moon, and the moon is in Sagittarius, which is exactly where Saturn's going to be when this eclipse happens. So he is feeling like he is going to have the ability to express his feelings, but he's also under quite a lot of pressure, I'd imagine. But also, it's in Sagittarius. He's under a pressure to speak the truth. This is what I'm saying. And also, we're saying this is an eclipse. So this is on his natural, that would be on his South Node as well, where Saturn is at that time. So this is allowing him to rewrite the way he feels about his past. Or maybe he falls back into past errors. Or maybe it's about past dealings. But basically, I'm opening up the door to seeing different perspectives here. So the moon is also the 4th house. So this is about his home his gangster home in the White House as well.
The moon is in the 4th house? It shows the 5th.
No, but the home of the moon is the 4th house.
Ah, okay.
So I was just relating that back after that. So yes, also Neptune, which is the ruler of the 12th, is in the 3rd house, the 3rd house of communications. And so also in his 3rd house, he's got the Libra energy. So it's all about balance. He's also going through, they've got Jupiter at the moment there. So Jupiter's going to be just before his Jupiter return. He's had Jupiter stationed direct on his Chiron, which is where the reports, not that I follow the news, reports have been saying he's been going through a lot of health issues. But maybe he's been coming to a lot of healing within himself so that he can help heal the world. This is where my big prediction comes out. And I say that Donald Trump unveils some of the truths that have been hidden from the populace about the world and about America. Maybe about 9/11, or maybe even as far back as other assassinations of presidents too. Because this is Jupiter represents the world, and Libra represents fairness, Chiron represents healing, and Neptune represents, yes, it does represent hidden things and escapism, but it also represents compassion. So I'm saying that this person finds new compassion within themselves and shares it with the world. which really
Wow.
shape the core of our existence.
Oh, sorry, my parents are driving me mad. They keep calling.
And so yeah, that's a
So
not
that's
everybody's
interesting.
favorite.
Basically, you're saying that this solar eclipse, which falls on his ascendant, and because it's his moon perfection, it's his Cancer perfection this year, and Cancer, it means that all moon important, like new moons or full moons or solar eclipses, which are caused by the moon, of course, will be the most important for him this year because they're caused by the moon. Sorry?
He was born on an eclipse as well.
Oh, wow, yes. So you're saying he'll say some big truth that's been hidden.
Yes,
that
I feel
actually can shake the foundations of
disclosure to a degree. Even it could be that he even had gangster dealings, which to do with this 9/11, because he's like built Trump towers and investments were put on the buildings, on the twin towers that were knocked down, and so insurance policies were made. There's lots of corruption which can be outed, and we've been waiting for it for way too long. And so it will be really liberating for that to happen for the world. But whether it does or not, we'll see. I'm not hanging my hat on it. I just think it would be what I would like to see as the eternally optimistic.
Yes, yes, for him
for
speaking out some shocking truth that is time to come to the surface. I would like that.
Yes, well, Uranus is squaring the eclipse directly as well, so it's going to be very shocking, whatever happens. And it's going right across the pathway of America, which hasn't happened for 99 years. The last time it went across America was not across landmass like that either. It was just over Mexico and Hawaii. So this is a really big change. But what's really great is that we can put all that politics to the side and turn the TVs off and tune into ourselves. We can really tune into the change that we are going to experience within our lives, and the passion which is fueling us to have the courage to not be intimidated by fear and limitation, but allow ourselves to make our dreams our experience and to be the change that we wish to see in the world, and not let anybody else tell us that that's not possible.
Wow,
that's
very positive and optimistic. That's like the higher manifestation of Leo, the strength, the courage, the power within ourselves.
Yeah, well, this new moon Sunday is conjunct Mars, which is all about courage, and then also a few days later, on the 27th of July, we have a new Mars cycle. We've been in this Mars cycle since June 2015. Thanks you to my astrologer friend Alexandra pointing this out to me just now before I came to speak to you. But yeah, we are having this new Mars cycle, which starts in Leo on the 27th of July.
It means Mars joins the Sun. Mars conjunct Sun, so that's the new cycle of Mars. It's starting.
Mars will be combust, so it just takes. It's actually been a 26-month cycle for Mars since it was last combust in Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be at 4 degrees of Leo, just a few days after this new moon. And this new moon is all about that, being fueled by courage, but not allowing anger to get the better of us as well.
Yes, wonderful. I like that. Thank you, Philip. Well, thank you for sharing also this amazing technique with us. I'll start using it to filter through all the transits, because really you can't use all the transits every year. There's so many. And to look at everything else, it's fantastic predictive technique. And it's so easy, guys, to use it. And yeah, and you can, guys, would you like to add something else? You changed your name recently. Can you tell us why? It was so good, and you changed it into Philip Daniel Miles. So much royal. I like it so much better.
Well, just in time for Leo season, isn't it? But basically, I was born as Philip Daniel Miles, and I actually was very gifted and grateful for having a family take me in. My mum married into a family, and I had a father, my father figure, my dad. Bless him. Unfortunately, he passed away just before my 18th birthday, which was 12 years ago in the Jupiter transit, which is very interesting. However, I kept the name, and it was a name which I wasn't really resonating with vibrationally, even though I so appreciated all of his love and all of the family that raised me and brought me up, and they really taught me a lot of this gift of the gab, which I have. And because my grandparents are Aquarius and Sagittarians. But anyway,
That's all the third house you have there, Uranus, Aquarius.
Yeah, I was around them in the environment of my in the early days so much. So I very much appreciate them. However, I need to do this for me because the name protects us. It's a bit like our Merkaba, if you will. It carries us on our experience, and it's our identity.
Mhm.
However, I was going through a lot of growing and through my Saturn return, which started in 2014. So summer of 2015, I came up with this alias, this staged name, Feel Good, because I wanted to use my YouTube channel and all the content that I've been working to help people feel good, because I've always been doing positive, uplifting videos, encouraging people to not talk down to themselves, but obviously to see the best in their experience, all those kinds of things, all different messages all the time. So Feel Good is what I was going to go with. I was a little bit disheartened as soon as I realised there's about 10 Feel Goods around the place. Because I've got Uranus and Mercury and I want to be unique.
Absolutely.
And the only way you can be unique is when you be yourself. Because you are unique.
You're right, exactly. You don't have to go
Exactly, yes. So
out there to be unique, yeah.
It took me a little while, but I knew that I was definitely going to have to change my name again. But it wasn't until this week where I got a reading through magnificent Carlene, our team member at astrolada.com. She's a psychic, but she uses all kinds of different methods for her readings. She uses tarot. She's worked with shamans over the years. She's organised events. She also uses numerology, which is basically where she was kind enough, because I read her chart a couple of weeks ago. So we were doing an exchange.
Yeah, she said that you put her back together. She had a reading with Nicola Stojanovic, and he said he tore me apart, and Phil put me back together. She was like, "I'm so grateful." You know.
Well, it's very kind of her to say so, but because she's a really, really endearing and supportive, loving member of the team. But Nicola, I would love a reading with him too, because he's a unique and wonderful genius in his own scary right.
Yes, I love him too.
Yes, so that's very nice of her to put me over as well. But she was, Carlene was magnificent at not only just recalculating my birth name and all the different aliases and all the different names that I've been through, so that I could understand the vibrational resonance of each of the numbers. Because I already knew I'm a life path 8, the same as Donald Trump, but it's all about business and success and lessons and becoming our own teacher, so we can help teach the lessons to other people. Life path 8. It's a slippery slope. We can lose it all so easily if we don't have our own integrity. And so I was going under the name of Feel Good, which was still, I believe, a very good number. I'm not actually sure of the specifics myself, because I'm still studying and perfecting my own understanding of numerology. However, I believe in the tarot deck, the numbers were represented by the tarot, by the hangman. And I was basically being a victim and explaining from victim consciousness all of my points of views and perspectives, which is okay if you want to appeal to that audience. And there's nothing wrong with being a victim as long as we pull ourselves out of it. As long as we master it and learn to not be a victim and hide behind our own shadow and mask ourselves. So basically, rather than have this stage name, I've decided to take off the mask and go with the highest vibration, which is actually my birth name, of Philip Daniel Miles, each of which are master numbers, and they protect me on my continuous lessons, slippery slopes, but also escalator to the stars.
Wonderful.
As I learn to share all of my abilities and gifts and become, hopefully, a spiritual teacher and guru, collaborating and changing the world with all of the other brilliant masterminds that.
And Philip Daniel Miles sounds much more respectable and royal than Feel Good. So,
thank you very much.
And if the vibration is high, when I changed my name, well, I'm not Astrolada, this is not my name, but when I changed the name of the company to Astrolada, overnight, because I did it numerologically. Before that, my company was called Astrology. And first of all, the first name is last, you know, and the vibration was wrong. I didn't calculate it. I just came up with it. Overnight, after changing the name of the website, exactly overnight, it went huge. And from being nobody overnight, everyone was on my website, on YouTube. So the name and aligning the vibration of the name with the vibration of your birthday, numerologically, is the best thing you can do, you know. But anyway.
I must, before I conclude with talking about the name, I must say, yeah, it's so powerful because it really is, as I say, our Merkaba. It's our vehicle to carry ourselves through our experience. But my mum actually chose the name for me because before I was born, she had a child who unfortunately passed away. He drowned when he was only 4 years old. And she was unable. She actually had decided to not have any more children and had an operation so that she couldn't. And it's actually my biological father who she had an affair with because she nursed his daughter back to health when she was crippled.
Wow, you're a child of secret passion.
Yeah, well,
your ascendant is in Scorpio with Pluto, so there's something secretive there. And
yeah, well, we came out. We told everyone. Well, I wasn't there. I didn't have a choice about it. I was there. I was just floating around. But they were very kind, and my biological father was called Philip, and he paid for my mum to have the operation so that she could have me, which was her gift from him for saving his daughter.
Wow.
But he stayed with the family, and so my mum remarried, and then I was gifted to have an actual father who could be with me, which is also brilliant. But also, so that the child that my mum lost was called Daniel. So my name is Philip Daniel Miles. Miles was also the surname of my biological father.
Well, that's also the Scorpio part of your horoscope, which is connected with a bit of death, you know. But you know, your mom is your guardian angel because the moon, which represents the mother, is conjunct the star Spica, the star of guardian angels. It's actually in the constellation of the Virgin, and the Virgin is depicted in ancient texts like an angel with wings, and it's in one of the wings, the star Spica. So basically, it's like a protective. Your mom is your guardian angel. So she gave you the right name. Use the name your mom gave you.
Well, she's a Pisces psychotherapist, but her Pisces sun is conjunct Mercury. But funnily enough, on my ascendant is her Saturn, and on my descendant is her Jupiter. But sadly, my mum was adopted, so we don't have a birth time for her. But still, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, tough teacher, cool teacher, good teacher.
Yes,
both.
The right lessons in a compassionate manner.
Yes, tough lessons in a compassionate manner. Lovely. I like how you combine it, and even the more difficult, scary energies, you present them in what the final lesson is, what the ultimate silver lining is, as it is. And that's how we should approach from a much higher perspective everything, rather than, okay, you're gonna get sick now, or okay, you're gonna lose a big amount of money. Well, there is a ultimate goal that might lead you to more happiness, that might lead you to better relationships. You know, it always leads to something better eventually.
Totally. It's always an opportunity to work with the energy. And the reason I like to be so vulnerable and share my experience so transparently, if possible, is because I like to encourage other people to also know that it's okay to be scared and to be transforming. And yes, I went to another name. It doesn't mean I'm fickle. I lived as that name, and and that was very, very valuable those 2 years. So don't discard our pasts. It's all part of the journey, and we should appreciate the whole thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Philip. Sorry.
Either way, I'm not gonna crucify anyone if they call me Phil. It's all good. But thank you very much, Lada.
Thank you for this wonderful expose. Is that what it's called? The interview. And if anyone wants a reading with Phil, his prices start from $37 for answer for one question, and he's very to the point, and he does very precise predictions. As I said, my tester, who speaks with hundreds of astrologers and readers all the time, and she lets very few in. She knows nothing about astrology, because that's how it should be. You know, she was like, oh, he didn't go into all those drawn out astrological terms. He just went to the point, and she was very happy with the reading and very impressed. So
I look forward to having a glass of wine with both of you sometime.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much, Philip. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Maybe Philip goes live every Saturday at
It's 11 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Eastern. I'll post about it. I can't remember the right time.
Yeah, you can tune in to watch him and his predictions, and maybe he can do Q&A sometimes, so he can answer your questions, astrology questions on the chat, because I think you have a very interesting perspective on things in a much higher vibrational level rather than scary one, and you can present even difficult what's coming. I need a reading with you because I'm going to go through hell over a few years. So I'm scared. I want you to, ease me into the higher possibilities of those difficult transits. So
yeah, I'm sure it's not going to be hell, and I'm sure that you'll really feel better when we go through the experience. I'll be honoured and privileged to do your chart with you sometime.
Oh, thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you very much, Lada. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Have a great week. What is that? I don't even know what days. Okay.
Thursday evening. And thank you very much, audience.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.